All right. All right. All right. Time for another Gators Breakdown Plus member chat. Right here on the Sunday evening after Florida takes it on the chin, 38-7. It just sounds weird to say. 38-7 to Kentucky. That's where this program is right now. That's where this team is right now. Hopefully, that's not what that's technically where the program is. That's not where we want the program to stay. That's why there's a head coaching change. But man, oh man, just an ugly performance last night right there in Lexington. But here we are, David Waters right here, Gators Breakdown Plus members chat. If you're catching the replay, everybody hit that like button, subscribe. If you haven't done so yet, right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. But like we do every Sunday evening, members come in here, get in, say what they got to say, get a little bit of pulse of Gator Nation after these games, these on the Sunday evening. Gives everybody, about 24 hours to kind of decompress and maybe better perspectives prevail instead of the what happens in the midst of a game or right after a game. But certainly Gator Nation not too happy about what they saw Saturday night from this team. So embarrassing. That's the best way to put it. I didn't see a performance like that coming. I really didn't. I guess there were some signs that obviously it could happen. But okay, this team will just stick together. They will stick through. They won't quit. And it's not what it looked like at all there Saturday night. So certainly lots to discuss there on that front. We're all in the conversations of who's the next head coach for Florida, and nothing's really changed in that regard. We'll see if anything comes out in the next week or so. I know there's some various timelines that have been thrown around out there and possible meetings happening, but we will see. It's still Lane until it's not. So we can get into that a little bit if you guys want to, but I'm sure we can live in the midst of a ugly performance Saturday night and then go wherever we want to go. If you're not a member yet, everybody, gatorsbreakdownplus.com. Starts at $3 a month. You can take part in chats like these, ad-free episodes of Gators Breakdown right here in the Discord. So let me start bringing some people in. I see Harrison, I know, was up pretty early. Get him in here first. What's up, Harrison? Might have to unmute. There we are.
Hey, Dave. How we doing?
Good, man. Do a little bit of family time today. Kind of. Man, I was up till 3:00 working last night with the podcast and a couple articles put out as well. So slept in a little bit, but then some family time.
Yeah, that's you probably enjoy that more than the games at this point.
Yeah. I mean, always enjoy the family time. But man, yeah, it's not really. Of course, I was perusing. I talked here on the Discord a little bit as well today on this Sunday. But yeah, it was working late, watching football all day, quote unquote, working late, and then hopping on with you guys now.
Well, I hate to be negative, Dave, but this game for some reason just really like got under my skin. Like I just feel like no matter what's going on or how bad we're down, we shouldn't lose like this to Kentucky.
That's a good point, and that is a mindset I had to spark some conversation for tonight if need be. But you hit it right on the head, and I think it's fair to ask the question. Look, we all look forward to football season. September rolls around. I mean, look, we're all here in the Discord because we love college football 24/7. If you're in here, you guys are probably diehard Gator fans, and this is a release for us. This is a hobby for us. This is something we care so much for. But now, okay, you're in quote unquote a lost season. You have fired a head coach, so the season is lost. I guess the question is, and I have to think about it a little bit different. I'm a fan first, but have a podcast and a voice out there. You guys, fans, diehard fans, how much should you care? this is a lost season. I will admit, heading into the Kentucky game, I'm like, that wasn't a whole lot to really get up for. I was, of course, ready to watch Florida play, but being hyped, being amped, a little bit of deflation after the Georgia game last week, of course. Maybe the team felt the same way because that's exactly what it looked like when they were on the field Saturday night. But, I think it's a great question in what is a lost season because you have fired a head coach. You are looking, to the future more so than you are these games, but, especially because what happened last week against Georgia and then now what happened against Kentucky. I mean, you can ask yourself some question. How much should you care out there? Do you care? Do you not care? I assume most of you, since you're in here and kind of, laid that out, I think you do care. It's just, man, it's hard to maybe it's excited is the right word for it, but maybe, hard to get excited for what we saw Saturday night and looking ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even go to sleep last night. It just was bothering me. And I know I'm gonna want to hear the people get in here and say that we shouldn't have look at what we've done versus the last couple of years, but it's just like that's still not the Florida standard. I still feel like that, even when Zook was fired, Zook was still coaching his tail off,
Yeah, and I don't know if these coaches are or not, but certainly, and I don't want to put it all on the players, but it didn't look like I think when you look at the defense, was that kind of the sign the team has melded in? Because at least that group had been something you could at least count on as competent, not as good as the defenses we've wanted to see, but certainly a competent group. And then you were going against a Kentucky offense that is by no means as good as what they showed. Now, I did want to bring it up, and I did look it up. Their game log, as far as, their offense, they had 401 yards against Florida. Just a week ago, they had 240 against Auburn. But before that, they put up 476 on Tennessee and 395 on Texas. So they had, and I mentioned it in the preview, they have been better the last handful of games. But if this Florida defense had shown up in and resembled anything that we have seen so far this year, that doesn't happen. And it just certainly looked like the bottom fell out, and the care that we look forward to for the players on the field just did not look like it was there.
Yeah, for sure. It was I was just like, I just thought we'd, as much fight as they kept showing, all throughout all these weeks. This is not the week I expected them to quit. But
yeah,
I mean, I'll keep watching. But I'm obviously ready for a new coach, just like everybody else is ready for this nightmare to be over.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I just brought Zach in here, and then I'll go read Micah Lee's comment right here. Micah said, I care, but I care about other aspects of the program more right now. We can lose the rest of our games if we make the right hire, and there will be hype in the offseason. That's absolutely true. I think that's a good encapsulation of it all. I think that's where a lot of Gator Nation is. We're going to watch football because we care about football. But I guess the way of caring has changed. And that Arnold guy says, I care too much apparently because I've had a headache all day and sickness in my stomach over the garbage I witnessed. Yeah. I mean, it sucks. Like I said, we look forward to, we are guaranteed 12 of these. And, when you fire a coach, it is kind of the sign that this is a lost season in a way. But I don't want to throw it away because we only get so few of these year in and year out. So, all right, Zach, man, what's up?
You know what this game reminded me of? Reminded me of that Arkansas game a couple of years ago when they weren't doing anything and they just came in and just whooped us. I have a feeling Kentucky's going to go back to being Kentucky next week.
That would be interesting to see. Who do they got left? Well, they have Tennessee Tech next week, so nothing to worry about there. But they do have Vanderbilt and Louisville to end the season. And I think Louisville did lose yesterday. But still, losable games, winnable games for Kentucky. Vandy should beat them. But, they've gotten the best of Louisville as well. So it is going to be interesting to see how they finish the season. But, yeah, not a pretty performance for the Gators. Kentucky's not 38-7 better than Florida, but that's what happened. That's what transpired. Guys, here's the crazy thing. We fired a coach, and we've seen the result of it. I got comments on YouTube from Kentucky fans saying they did not want to see what happened last night. They were ticked off that they beat the crap out of Florida because they were ready to move on from Mark Stoops. I got a few comments like that from Kentucky fans in the YouTube comments. So I'm not making it up. They're there for everybody to go see. That's what you lost to last night. That's what you just got your butts beat by from some in the Big Blue Nation fan base who didn't see that coming either and didn't even want it to happen.
I need to go back and look, but a lot of times it looked like our defense was just walking around too. I guess it felt like they just gave up at a certain point, and I don't know if they have. I know we had a lot of players out last night too, but it just looked pathetic.
It did. It looked pathetic. I mean, it hasn't looked like that at any point this year. So I think the really only thing, fair or not, the only thing you really can point to is, the want to, the passion. It didn't look like it was there.
I think we know why Trammell hasn't played any this year either. He didn't look much better than DJ. If whoever comes in as a next coach, they just need to clean out the quarterback room, I think, and we just need to bring in all new guys.
New coach can do whatever the heck he wants to do. I mean, I like a lot of this talent on the roster. I will stand by that. I'm not saying it's national title roster, but it's a roster built to be competitive. I see a lot of people jumping off of that ledge because of the performance against Kentucky. No, that's why you fire the staff, because you feel like you have a better team than what they were putting out there. But at the same time, if new coach has, I don't care, and I don't care. Look, yes, I want Lane to be the head coach, but I don't care who it is. You are hiring a head coach to make change, to be a difference. If they want to clean house, let them clean house. I don't care who it is. That's you're making a change. And you're making a change for a reason. So I feel you. Not just at quarterback, though. It's just wherever you got to go to feel like you're doing the best, go ahead and do it. I mean, I'll have more confidence in other guys who can do it. But at the same time, if you got to make a change, you got to make a change.
What happens next week when Ole Miss just runs away with it? Because if this is what we do against Kentucky, Ole Miss is going to be even uglier than this.
Yeah, college football is a weird game, and look, don't get me wrong. I'm going to pick an Ole Miss, blowout in the prediction this week. But college football is such a weird game, and we'll see. It will be weird to say it looked like this team gave up against Kentucky, but then for them to go out there and play good next week at Ole Miss, that will be because then what do you say? When you go back and look at the Kentucky game, do you say, well, okay, they only gave up for a week? So I don't know. We got to see how the game plays out. And of course, what the team looks like, what the effort looks like, what the passion looks like, of course. So we'll see what it looks like next week versus Ole Miss. But if they go out there and play well, what does the Kentucky game mean? So we got to see that first, though. So getting way ahead of myself there. If I had to say anything, it's not going to be a pretty day in Oxford next Saturday. It might be a pretty day, but it won't be a pretty day for Florida.
Yeah, I think once the team gives up, that's pretty much it for the season. I've never seen a team be able to give up and then just come out the next week and be that much different.
Certainly hard to put any kind of numerical value on it except for 38-7 on how effort is. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Dave? Man, I know a lot of people are really mad and upset the way we played yesterday. I'm a little bit different take. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but I kind of had that feeling going into the Georgia game that this was going to happen. Now, to the team's credit, they played for the Georgia game. I mean, that's kind of the way it looks like to me anyway. After seeing this week, they decided to put their efforts into that Georgia game, but as soon as lost that game, you can tell we just. I mean, the team looks checked out. Like you said, they could come back against and then get themselves back up for Ole Miss just because of the situation, with Lane and everything else. And Ole Miss is gonna get up for it.
Yeah, that and you're playing a good team. That might be part of it too. I mean,
but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just not a good football team.
No,
and that's why we don't have a coach. I mean, that's why we're looking for a coach. I mean, so I read this is one of the worst losses in program history. I'm like, dude, first off, we have an interim coach. You obviously weren't around in 2014 versus Missouri. Or 2013 versus Georgia Southern, Georgia State, excuse me.
It was Georgia
Southern.
Yep.
Yeah. And then 2021 for Dan Mullen versus South Carolina. I mean, those were all just as bad or worse performances for Florida. So, I mean,
even the win versus Citadel that year was uglier than a loss in a lot of ways, just because of who.
Yeah, I mean, the interim coach, guys. I mean, you can't really have that high expectations for this team. I mean, anymore. You shouldn't anyway.
Yeah,
you're just setting yourself up for disaster.
Well, I think going to your point, having that
quarterback's going to give us trouble.
Yeah, having that good performance against Georgia, even in a loss, I think still held out some hope that the team would hold it together and, just be in the games like they have been all year. And in the first game with the interim, but I'm glad the broadcast brought it up because I did bring it up last week too. That the quote unquote interim high, and that certainly seems like a good thing. But then, if you don't get the result you want right away in that interim high, you can get a result right after that. That looks like 38-7 Kentucky. So I did see from some Kentucky notes here, and I don't mean to pile on, but I'm going to. So this is the first time Kentucky has defeated Florida 4 out of 5 on the field since 1948 and 1952. That's how long we're talking, folks. First time Kentucky has defeated Florida on field in Lexington 3 games in a row since 50, 53, and 55. The largest margin of victory versus Florida since a 40-6 win in 1950 was the most points UK has scored versus Florida since a 41-24 win in 1974. It was the fewest yards allowed versus Florida since giving up 245 in 2015. So, there you go. That's how ugly it was. That's how good it was for Kentucky. You had to go back to the 50s to have any kind of streak like this for Kentucky, a performance like this for Kentucky against our Gators. Putrid.
Yeah, it's it is what it is.
It is.
Like I said, I can't get too mad at it. We're trying to find a new coach. So,
yep. All right, Ryan, I'll ask you, and everybody else can hop in.
It'll probably be worse next week.
Maybe. I'll ask you, Ryan, and Harrison and Zach can go ahead and give their thoughts too, and then I'll let some other guys in while that. So, I'll ask you guys the question while I bring some more in, and then I'll give my thoughts on it too. What happens at quarterback this week? Gonzalez was just non-committal after the game last night about who's going to start at quarterback next week. And so what do you think will happen? What do you want to happen? Is it an open competition? Do you just give it to Trammell? Do you start Lagway with a very short leash? I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts on it. I think Gator Nation might be pretty torn on this. But it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, maybe Monday Gonzalez comes out and says, "Hey, we're rolling with Lagway," but we got a day or so to talk about it. So while it's still open for interpretation, open for discussion, what do you guys think happens? What do you want to happen at the quarterback spot?
Me, it depends on does either one of them plan on being here next year. What is Lagway's plans? Because if he doesn't really, if he's leaning towards transferring, then let him sit and play Jones. I think they'll probably start Lagway. They'll go back to Lagway since we didn't really get anything accomplished by putting Jones in. But behind the scenes, what are they having? Like, was it Tank Abrams or TJ, or which one was it?
Tank Hawkins.
Yeah, Tank Hawkins. Excuse me. He decided to opt out. That's an option.
Yeah.
It may not be for DJ just because there's probably a lot of money involved. I'm just.
Yeah, and DJ's not trying to preserve a red shirt either. He's played. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't think it really matters who starts at quarterback. To be honest with you, it's just. I think the offense is going to struggle with both.
I think just watching the game last night, DJ still looks better. I don't think Trammell really saw the field that well. He's a young guy, so you kind of have to take the good with the bad. But I think DJ still gives you the best chance to win, no matter how bad he's playing.
Yeah, it was interesting. I thought the first few plays with Trammell, you saw a little bit of a spark, and then it was just kind of same old, same old. I haven't really got a chance to go through and watch, and I would love to have access to all 22. I don't, but so I'm sure, but watch more of it as well. But certainly didn't really get a whole lot. Kentucky had a long drive. Florida had a long drive with Trammell. When he came in, and Kentucky had another long drive, so it wasn't necessarily getting a ton of reps, but certainly, after that little initial spark, it wasn't much after that.
I have to wonder how bad Harrison Bailey looks too, because I think he's either third or fourth on the depth chart too. So that's why I was kind of saying is clear at the quarterback room, because I don't trust any of the quarterbacks in our room right now.
Yeah, I don't know how far they go down the depth chart if they have to. But, all right, Dave, let's see. You're in here now.
Hey, Dave.
What's up, man?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to speak on DJ real quick.
Yeah.
I played ball in high school. I played fullback, so I don't really know much about the quarterback position. But I tell you what, the first thing they taught the quarterbacks back then was footwork. And implementing the footwork and manipulating the defense in a way where you can go from your first, second, and third read. To me, my biggest gripe about DJ was his footwork in high school. And I thought that this staff of 85 people or 8,500 people could have fixed it a little bit. But, last year his footwork wasn't good, but he got away with it because he could still throw it super, super deep.
Yeah.
And we saw on a lot of long throws last year that, he was still a little behind. But this year, he should have, and this is my point with DJ, he should have took a medical red shirt for the year. But Billy Billy hitched his wagon to DJ Lagway. And this team was just not ready to play without DJ. And all those mental reps really, because I played ball too, it really doesn't really mean a whole lot when it comes to pad on pad. And I would say, the footwork is just, if ESPN is doing a minute and a half segment on how bad your footwork is in the middle of a damn game, that is not good. So I just wanted your thoughts on his footwork and his placement. And he just plays, he just looks like he's playing scared. He looks like he's just hurt. He needs to take a medical red shirt. He needs to take a year off and get better. And if that's with the Gators, great. But if it's not, even better. I want him to go get healed up and get better with a new approach to football.
Yeah, funny you say new approach to football, because I think that's part of it as well, just in general, is the new approach to football in general from everybody else. NIL certainly plays a factor here. That's why he's on the field. I think surgery could have been an option that they just did not want to do. That's probably from personally him and his family side. Then they were just wanting him to be on the field. Went out there and found an opinion that rest could help DJ Lagway's injury prognosis throughout the offseason. Obviously the footwork's all messed up. Obviously the time off during the offseason did not allow him to work on it as much. And of course, some of that we heard was shoulder, some of it was torso. Then we get closer to the season and we get the calf injury. And if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. He missed so many reps in the offseason. But, going to your point too, some of that's just basic quarterbacking. That's, the decision-making of throwing into double, triple coverage, letting the ball sail and throwing behind Jaden Ball. I mean, it's, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. I completely agree with the whole confidence thing. It certainly looks like he's lost confidence in himself and the offense and the offensive line in front of him. You got injuries at receivers, so you don't have your full arsenal there. I mean, it's like I said, if it could go wrong, it does go wrong. It has gone wrong. So it's not one single thing there. I think kind of brought it up last night, and we've brought it up all off season, or not off season, during the season when we've seen Lagway struggle is, if you're going to a different quarterback, well, this is still the same staff. This is still the same staff that was trying to develop AR, trying to develop Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, and now the other quarterbacks too. And can it really be any better because of the staff and, not really developing at a level that needs to be developed at the most important position in sport? We've seen some flashes. We've seen even some growth from Graham Mertz from Wisconsin to Florida, but it seemed like the more and more the staff got their hands on him, Graham Mertz didn't take this, the step that we thought he would take from his first year at Florida to his second year at Florida. Like, he regressed in some ways. And then we've kind of seen the same thing with DJ Lagway this year as well. So now I think there are a lot more reasons for DJ Lagway's regressions than just besides the staff, but we've seen too much to think the staff didn't have a lot to do with it. And now we think about it. And the staff has kind of always, and rightfully so, kind of gotten hammered on, but we were all kind of hoping for the best, and maybe even the talent would win out in some regard. But this staff is done after 3 games. I don't think Florida's making a bowl game. Do we really think anybody on this offensive staff is going to go and be an offensive coordinator, go be a quarterback coach at any big-time program out there right now? I mean, that's Billy Napier's not going to be highly sought after play caller. Russ Callaway's not. Ryan O'Hara's not. Billy G's probably still got the best reputation on the staff. Jabbar Jalouk as well. But those are position coaches. Those guys are going to do, they'll go out and do great things at position coach, as a position coach. But as play callers, as masters, strategizers, strategists out there, no. So we've seen what these quarterbacks have dealt with the last 4 years, and we're bearing the result right now.
I would just say, that approach to this army of staff at the end of this year, after Billy was fired and during his tenure, it really is just moot at this point. You could have 800 people around you, but if they can't elevate with you, they're just yes men. And so they're all agreeing to one person, one goal, which is the vision of the head coach. And to Billy's credit, he did do a great job of building the infrastructure within. To his downfall, he decided not to delegate things to people who he supposedly hired and was supposed to trust. So I would argue that it's more systemic, and you're right, Dave. Nobody on this staff is equipped to build this quarterback room or this running back room. Now, Jabbar Jalouk, I would say, look, he is, he can build a running back room. And Billy G, he can build a wide receiver room. The defensive side, look, these kids gave up. They gave up, but I would say you're right, and I'd say it's a deeper systemic issue. Thank you for letting me speak. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hopping in. Bill Sykes.
Hey, David. What's happening, bud?
You hear it.
All right, and I got something for you tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 stat lines.
2 stat lines.
Quarterback stat lines. One is a quarterback through 9 games. One is a quarterback through 8 games.
Okay.
The guy through 9 games had 6.9 yards per attempt. The guy through 8 games had 6.8. The guy through 9 games had a rating of 128. The guy with 8 games had a rating of 128.5. The guy with 9 games had 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The guy with 8 games had 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. The guy with 9 games had 60.8% completions, while the guy with 8 games had 65% completion rate. The guy with 9 games had 1,447 yards. The guy with 8 games had a little more at 1,679. My question for you is, which one of those is DJ Lagway and which one is Austin Appleby?
Good one.
The answer is, who cares?
You're right.
It's almost the exact same stat line.
But no, that's the guy with 9 games is Austin Appleby and 8 is DJ Lagway. I mean, Lagway's got a couple extra interceptions, about a 225-yard advantage, but otherwise they're almost identical. How did we get here? Who would have thought?
So that goes to the storyline too. Of course, I shared it last night. First of all, good point. How did we get here? DJ Lagway is Austin Appleby in 2025. And such a crazy college football world. Now, Will Miles nailed the whole Garrett Nussmeier thing. Did not so on the DJ Lagway thing. But here we are last night. Garrett Nussmeier gets benched at LSU, and DJ Lagway gets benched at Florida. And both are on almost every top 10 list out there as far as national quarterbacks. Certainly very, very high in SEC quarterback list. And here we are, first week in November, and both are benched with fired head coaches. College football comes at you fast, man.
It does. But, we're in a situation where if people point to potential injuries, they have a good point.
Yeah,
if
but
they
for both of them,
point towards mismanagement and bad coaching, they have a good point. And scheme, a good point. Maybe they're pointing out that the guy can't see the field. We don't know it. That could be too. And I suspect that, like you said, the NIL is complicating things when the best decision probably was to opt out over a month ago. Lick your wounds and then figure out what you want to do in the offseason. But here we are. Not a great situation for Lagway, not a great situation for anybody. But I'm having a hard time imagining him coming back next year.
Might be better off for both sides to clean slate, honestly. I mean,
you can't keep paying him what you're paying him.
No,
right?
you can't.
So that gets awkward.
Yeah, you're right. That completely. Yeah, that's the most key part right there. Is it certainly gets awkward.
Yeah.
Look, he may have a bunch of outside. He still may be. I don't know how long his Gatorade deal was for. I don't know how long the Chipotle deal was for. I have no idea. So he still might be A-okay outside of NIL at Florida. And if that keeps him here, fine. But, and I've brought it up. There has got to be competition. You cannot have a season like this and say, all right, well, I can fix him. And he's my guy. We don't even, and I bring it up, and I've brought it up before, and I'll bring it here just in case nobody's heard it. Is he really going to be 100% all offseason? I wouldn't project it. I wouldn't predict it. So he's going to miss reps this offseason as well, when he probably needs them more now than he ever did.
That's right. And I can't remember who pointed it out in your Discord today, and I'm sorry since I'm referencing it, but somebody pointed out that, okay, let's say he needs surgery. Maybe it is an injury. Well, now we're missing another offseason?
Correct. Yep.
I do not think you can wager.
You can't.
The future of your program on that.
Nope. And look,
I don't think a new coach will. I mean, he'll go and get another guy. I mean, I don't think that's really an issue.
But see, there's the conversation. Is Lagway and his party going to be okay with that? If they're not, bye. See you later.
Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly.
I don't
And
care.
that's what any coach is going to tell him.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the same thing.
Yep.
And but like you said, he's going to have to take a huge pay cut, so he's probably not going to stick around or want to do that, or his family won't want to. So, I mean, I'm like Bill. He's probably not going to be here after this year.
And we're at the point now.
Well,
it's just
another any other industry. If this was, let's say, a bank or a retail store or anything, and you are a drastically overpaid employee who's not producing when the new management comes in, what do you think is going to happen?
You're going to be fired.
No-brainer.
Yeah. Another example of, we've seen it, we've brought it up, we've said it so many times. You don't hitch to, if coaching change is the best move, you do or do not make the move because of players. And that's, goes for transfers, that goes for recruiting, that goes for current players on the roster. If a move needs to be made, you make the move. We keep seeing the best example of it. I hate it came to this. I was a big DJ Lagway believer. Thought he could actually save Billy Napier, but certainly not the case. But it's just another example of you can. You've got to just get the right coach in. Then everything else usually takes care of itself.
Yeah, and Dave, I'll say this about that. I know people are, and they're rightfully upset from what we saw, and they're worried that Kiffin might not show up for the job. But Kiffin, first of all, has proven experience turning around an SEC doormat. That's why he's under consideration, at least in part. And I don't think there was ever an illusion that this was like 2017 Alabama and Saban is out the door and you're taking over the Ferrari. Yes, there's a good young talent core. It may or may not be intact by the time any new coach arrives.
Yeah.
And in the portal era, you just have to assume your roster is going to get gutted anyway. So I just don't think that's part of the equation. I think Kiffin, if he wants the job, is because he wants to be at Florida.
Right. I mean, you could have a brand new roster in 2 years anyway.
That's right. You have to. Maybe every 2 years now.
True. And he's got great experience in that. So
that's right.
Kurtzman's in here. I think. Yep. Okay. You can unmute your mic, Kurtzman, if you're ready to go. Let's see. We got some other comments right here on the side. Symbiote, Carnage. There we go, Kurtzman. I will get that comment right quick. He said, reminded me of when Ray Davis ran all over us as far as the Florida-Kentucky game.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you, man. I got you now, man.
All right. Awesome. Listen, my whole thing right now is you're not winning with these guys. Let them go. I saw Harrison Bailey here at UNLV. It's terrible. I mean, he couldn't win. He couldn't beat out Cameron Field or Jada Mayava, and obviously Mayava's doing well at USC. But that's the room he had here. There was no, if Harrison Bailey had to play at all for Florida, it would have been worse than what you saw on Saturday night. So the quarterback room, it just needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
How much right now? I mean, based on this is a global brand that's being embarrassed on a national stage that it was on this Saturday night. And to me, if the Lane train can't come here, Scott has to go. If he can't deliver Lane, then you just got to move on from him. I give credit. LSU did fire their AD. I thought Scott should have been canned as well too. Maybe he didn't want to leave the university. He could have put him in some other role. But for the most part, I think it's time for him to leave the organization. I think he's done enough damage to this football program right now. And I just don't see why they held on to him.
Well, not only that, he got a new contract.
Yeah, that's even crazier.
Yeah, so that's why I haven't spoke much on it. I don't know if anything happens because of that. Now, if he hadn't got that new contract, I'd say, all right, yeah. If you don't bring in Lane, then yeah, you're probably on your way out. I don't know if that happens now. And another thing about that is I don't want to pretend Lane's the only good coach out there. I just think he's the one I have the most confidence in. I do think other guys, and I don't know which ones, can come in here and have success as well. Hopefully, support, where all the support that you were promising Lane, I hope is still there if he's not the guy and you have, moving all in one direction. I do think as far as the fan base goes, it wouldn't be as hype as it was if it was Lane Kiffin, but still hopefully everything behind the scenes as far as administration and boosters and everybody being on the same page continues to happen for the next guy as well. If it's not Lane, but yeah, we're going to have a hard look in the mirror there. And I mean, Scott, of course, getting a little bit of credit for the basketball title. How much does that weigh in all this? Some people will weigh that a good bit. But bringing it up always goes back to you more than likely could have had Lane last year if you just would have made the move.
That's the issue right there.
That's what so many people say right now. And we all saw it should have happened after the A&M game.
Yeah.
It could have happened after the Miami game last year.
Yeah.
Enough was enough.
So I think if people want to go back to that might weigh pretty heavy if a move does get made anyway on Strickland. If you don't get Lane. Now here's the thing about this whole situation for Strickland and Lane to me, like you could have had him last year. So yeah, that should be weighed pretty heavy as well. It won't be because of Strickland if Lane comes or not comes this time around. Like it won't be because Scott did something wrong. It's just Lane's going to stay at Ole Miss or he's going to come to Florida. That's really all it is. I don't think there's anything Scott can do or Scott cannot do to get Lane in the door. But
yeah, I think that's
good, right?
I can't blame him for that. But the issue is, like you said, it could have happened last year, and I think Lane would have came last year.
Oh, I know he would have.
Yeah. So,
and besides Lane, how much? I know we don't want an assistant. I know we want someone to prove a head coach.
Yeah.
But I think right now in today's age of the NIL, and we see programs doing it well. To me, I want someone off that Ryan Day tree. I think of Lanning went up to Oregon and it's just flourished there, right? And so I think if you don't get Lane, is there someone on Ryan Day's staff or somewhere tied in that program that knows how to win national championships in the NIL world right now? Is kind of where I lean as a backup.
That would be Hartline, the wide receiver coach, now offensive coordinator there at Ohio State. He would be the only one. How does that compare to Lanning, learning under Saban and Kirby for so long, and getting the job at Oregon? I think it would have to be the question you ask. There are advantages of going that route as far as, you still need to spend a lot of money. You just wouldn't be spending it on the coaching salary. You would be spending the money elsewhere to build everything up around a candidate like that, to put, A+ quality around him at every angle to help him out the most. They're still going to be learning on the job. But that's what Oregon did with Lanning. It was like, all right, we know that he's green, he's new, but he's going to need all the support in the world behind him to get this thing done and it not take a while. So there was a lot of support there. If you go that route, you can't just say, all right, well, we'll go that route. We can save some money, but we're not going to spend an NIL because, we're disappointed it's not Kiffin or another big name or all that. No, you're going to have to put the support around this guy, maybe even more so. But for Lane, he's going to have, and for other name coaches, they're going to have demands, and rightfully so. And Florida better give him everything they want. But a guy with no coaching record to his name needs to demand the same thing, because that's what it's going to take to win. And if Florida wants to half-ass this, then tell us fan base so we can set our expectations. But Scott Strickland tells us when you fire Billy Napier, this is the championship expectation. And look, I know all that could just be words that are thrown out there, for sure. And it's maybe
I believe nothing Scott says ever.
For sure. But to the point, any AD is probably going to say that in his shoes, no matter who it is. If you've won 3 national championships, that's going to be the standard that us as a fan base are going to put on you. But if you're not serious about this, then tell us. And I won't say we'll find something else to do, but at least we have an expectation. At least we can set expectations. But if the AD, no matter who it is at Florida, is going to tell me we're getting rid of a coach, and because of that, we have championship expectations. We have a standard we want to meet. And that's what you tell us in your press conference. That's what you tell us in the message you send out on social media. All right. Well, it doesn't matter who the next head coach is. You better do everything. You better do everything in the world to give that guy everything he needs to go win. So
that's just the way I see it. If you don't land, I think everybody else is kind of all jumbled into the same group. And that's why I'm saying is, someone who's won in the current NIL area is what I'm leaning more towards if you can't get Lane. And I know it's probably not the best choice, but boy, I look at that coaching tree and how they recruit. They're organized. They know how to win. They know the schedule soft too. I mean, I don't know if that'll help us out too. I mean, they do have a soft schedule, but I'm just saying in today's playoff and NIL world, I want someone who's won in that, not been exposed to that yet.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like that will be the case unless Florida just gets way down the list and is told no by a bunch of people. I mean, from everything we can gather and know and asking around, it is all right. We are going after a sitting power forward coach, preferably on the offensive side. So we'll see where that takes Florida.
Well, Dave, thanks for having me on. I was at the game Monday night here in Vegas. Unfortunately, I saw the Gators lose. It was kind of unfortunate start to the week of that, but it was just good to see the boys in person.
Yeah,
and it'll get better. Like, listen, from football perspective, like that eventually the rope was going to get let go. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. When you have an interim situation, you just know it's going to happen. So let's just make sure we beat Florida State and not to worry about the rest of that.
I hear you. On that note, a week from today, we won't be having a chat because Florida's here in Jacksonville. And me and my dad are going to Florida, Miami here in Jacksonville. So no chat next Sunday night, guys. I'll figure out another plan and we'll hit it during the week or something like that. But next Sunday night, I'll be at the Florida basketball game here in Jacksonville. All right, Symbiote Carnage, what's up, man?
So a few things. So obviously the boys didn't look like they played very well last night. They didn't look like they were there and stuff like that. But what's funny is I was talking to a Kentucky guy because I work up there sometimes, and he was like, "Man, y'all played Georgia pretty well. He had a pretty good game. So maybe this is the week where he's off because he's always on, he's off, he's on, he's off. So he's like maybe he'll be off this week and next week." When y'all play Ole Miss, he'll be on again. So hopefully, if that's the case, we give Ole Miss a run for their showing. And I mean, just goes back to what we were talking about last week or whoever on the podcast, whoever was talking about it, that it's like we play up to our competition, or we play down to the competition. And so hopefully, we can go into Ole Miss and show Lane, hey, we're not lost. We just need help, And my other thing is, if we don't get Lane, I just wanted to ask you, and I know it's been asked a billion times over at this point, but who are you leaning more towards? Like, you want Jed Fish or do you want the guy from Louisville? Like, who's the next guy on your list outside of Lane Kiffin, obviously?
Oh, man, it has changed. Well, Kenny Dillingham's not leaving Arizona State. I don't think so. He'd be up there for me. Kind of just going to the point that was made that they're just all kind of jumbled together at that point. I don't have one guy who is head and above shoulders the rest. unfortunately, Lane is in a tier himself. If Lincoln Riley is attainable, he would be my number two. If that, I know some say he is, some say he's not out there. But if he is, and maybe the thought right now is he's not, or he can be. Just with his offensive background, I think he could do well here. But interview process, man, you've got to make sure something is there about the defensive side of the football. A lot of the offensive guys took it on the chin yesterday. Louisville and Brom lost. Brom as a game day coach would probably be up there for me, but I've shared what a former staff member at Louisville has told me about hard to work. I mean, I don't care you're hard to work with either. If you win, that takes care of itself. I think he's one of the best pure game day coaches and could do a lot with Florida style of talent, style of offense that we want. Brom would be up there. Jed Fish, I've come around on as in just looking at what he's done, and he's had some bad situations that he took over with. His name only really gets brought up because of his Florida background a whole lot. I don't think his name would be brought up a whole lot. His name would even be much on a list if he wasn't a GA under Spurrier and graduates from Florida. So I try to take that out of it too. I like what he's done. It's just, to me, that's a big leap, but everybody's a big leap out there. I'm not completely opposed to James Franklin, but I wouldn't really get excited about it. I think he could do good at Florida. I don't think he'd win a championship at Florida. I don't. I think he could put Florida probably in a good spot and maybe make it better for the next guy. That's at the base what I think you're getting with James Franklin. But if you're going to tell me the championship is our expectation, well, you can't sell what he's done as championship expectations. And that's the way I look at it. But he might just be the best left out of the bunch. Does he go to Arkansas or Virginia Tech before Florida, finds out that Lane's not the guy? I don't know. But I think it's going to be a sitting P4 coach. That's why I still go in that handful of guys. I mean, Brent Key in Georgia Tech. Like I said, I think he's great for Georgia Tech. I think he does great things there. I just don't think it's a great fit at Florida. Unless he could somehow sell, my style is going to be different. I wish we could see him with a different quarterback before he got to Florida. I wish we could see him with a quarterback that's known to throw it all over the ball field and that he's willing to have an offense that does that. Because I do think he's a good head coach. The power spread that we've seen at Georgia Tech the last couple of years, I don't think you're going to have success running that at Florida. I just don't. That is not Florida talent. That is not what you can do best with Florida offensive talent. He might be able to show that he can open it up, but we just haven't seen it yet. So to me, it's such a huge risk. I think there's a high floor with him because I think he is a good coach. I just don't, if he's going to run that style of offense, if he's married to that style of offense, Florida will never win a championship with him. But the floor can be raised. So if championship or bust is my ultimatum, that's still Lane or bust. Everybody else besides that, I don't know. I mean, there are other good coaches out there. I'm not trying to make it sound like Lane is the only good coach out there, but he's just the one that gives me the most confidence of putting Florida back in the championship race.
And it's like we all want Lane, and then if we don't get him, like, who do we go for? I personally like Dillingham as well. I think he's obviously gotten great talent over at ASU in the past couple of years. I mean, you just think about Ricky Pearsall, Jaden Daniels, just some of the guys that came to the SEC from Arizona State. It's like he's been there, he's recruited those guys, so he can obviously grab the talent. So that's what I do like about Dillingham.
Well, that was the coach. That was mostly the coach before him. That was Herm Edwards.
I got you. But I mean, then there's another guy that's out there that I kind of put my eyes on that a lot of people's not talking about, and that goes for any job, and that's Chip Kelly. Like, he used to run a spread offense at Oregon, and I know he hasn't had a ton of success in the NFL, and I know he's back there now, but I mean, I don't know how the fit would be, the cultural fit for him would be down here, but I do know that, obviously he would be able to get the players and run the style of offense that he used to run in college, and I think he could be successful in it. But I don't know. Yeah, he's just not really talked about.
Yeah, well, he did. Well, one reason he's not talked about is, he was supposed to be the guy when we hired Dan Mullen, and he changed his mind. I think, and a lot of that was the pressure cooker that this job is. So he already didn't want to be involved in that one time. And then goes to UCLA, has some success at UCLA. And then he's a head coach there. He quits being a head coach and goes offensive coordinates for Ohio State last year and wins a national championship and then jumps to the NFL. So I don't know if he has the heart, the desire to be a head coach in today's college football with the NIL and then at Florida where, the pressure is even more than it was at UCLA. And he already stepped away from a job like that there. So I hear you, pure football coach aspect of it. I'd be a fan of a lot of that. It's just everything outside of being a pure football coach. I don't know if Chip Kelly would want that in Florida.
Appreciate you letting me talk, and I don't want to hold you up. I know you got a few minutes here, and there's another one that's trying to get in here. Yep. So I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for hopping in.
Yes, sir.
Let me get my Gator in here, and then we'll call it a night. Good chat, guys. Good chat. Let me get Gator's comment here right quick while Mayaka hops in. He goes, I was at the game. A big reason why we decided to go was because I felt the team wouldn't quit. The word culture gets thrown around, and I believed in what was built culturally, and it all got thrown out the window. Also, a lot of my friends are UK fans and are mad about what happened because they're tired of Mark Stoops. Yeah, I've seen that out there too. And Gators, I can certainly feel you there about the culture part of it. And look, I got hit on by some, or hit at by some Gator fans, when I brought the word culture up a bit, and I said, yeah, the culture's there, but it's not a winning culture. And then, so they were like, well, you can't define it like that. Well, yeah, I can. I thought the culture was good. It's just, you had players who up until yesterday looked like they cared and were playing hard, and, not a lot of issues off the field. I've gotten to know some of the players. They're really good people. So the culture was good, but man, it certainly took a hit against Kentucky right there. And the winning culture just was never there under this staff. So what's up, Mayaka?
Hey, Dave. Always a great show, and good to see everybody in here. I think what we've seen last night, I think it was kind of as far as a team wise, it was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. This defense, we've had some rough games, but this defense has played their butts off lately. But I think and every time the offense always sputtered, whether it was the bad calling when Billy was here, or the mix-ups, or shooting ourselves in the foot. And I think they seen it more of it last night, and they were like, you know what, we've seen this act before. And they said, why should we bust our butts when they're not going to do the same? And you combine that with Kentucky. We are Kentucky's Super Bowl every single year. And there is an old adage, Dave, that goes like this, because I firmly believe we are a much more talented team on paper than they are.
Yeah.
But there's an old saying, hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't want to work. And that is what we seen last night. They were ready, they were up for us, and they played, and they wanted it more. And they worked for it, and they earned it. And, as much as it kills me, it makes me want to throw up my mouth, hats off to them. But, I think what we seen last night on our side was kind of a buildup of a very systemic problem, and it blew up last night. As far as Lane, I still think Lane is coming. I believe so. If he doesn't, what was it this last week? I love Dan Thompson. I respect him. I listen to him just like I listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
But when he came out and said that Lincoln Riley had not been vetted, I don't believe that. I have a very, very hard time believing that. I think there's other reasons that might have been shut down. That's just me. Take it for what it is. I still think if we offered the job, he'd come, because from what I understand, he doesn't like USC that much. It's been a rough ride for him out there. But that's kind of where I'm at on this whole thing. Now, the one thing that I am going to be very, very interested to see next week in this game, let's look at DJ Lagway here. The guy has won every high school award there is to win. I mean, he's done it all. I would almost be willing to bet that kid has never been benched. He's probably always been a starter there and got all the. Now he's going to come into this knowing, you know what? There's a possibility I could be benched again, because now I have been benched.
Yeah.
And now, he's already got the weight of the world on his shoulders, because, that's what, and he signed up for that because that's what comes with the quarterback at the University of Florida.
Yep.
But, you already know that. But now, at the end of the day, he's still a teenager. With that, there comes complacency. You know what? Yeah, I'm paid. This is my job. Nobody's taking it. Well, you just got it taken away from a half.
Right.
And if they'll do it once, they're going to do it again. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see how he comes out this week. That's all I've got, Dave. I'll sit back and listen. As always appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for hopping in. What I will say on the Lincoln stuff, the Lincoln Riley stuff, separate from Dan, I have also heard he's not been vetted, but I also have heard there's been interest on Florida side. So take that for what it's worth. But I did get a message late last week that was like, hey, he has not been vetted by Florida. So it's not, and I don't think that's the same place Dan's probably hearing it from either. So there could, like I said, there could be a lot to that. I know in here in the chat, we have some members. I don't want to put their name out, publicly. If you want to know, you can be here in the chat. I haven't actually talked to them, but of course, we have some users in here who absolutely believe there's interest from, Lincoln's camp at Florida. So we've heard it from both angles. And the thing is, I trust people from both sides of it. So this is why it's called silly.
Yeah.
That's why it's called silly season. Because that's what happens in the coaching carousel.
I absolutely agree. So either way, it's going to be pretty fascinating to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, for sure. But everybody, hey, yeah, thanks for hopping in. Thanks for happening in. One of the most, attended chats we've had in quite some time. I think probably since the move has been made to fire Billy Napier. I think we had a lot in here. So thank you guys for hopping in right here on this chat. I was trying to see if there was any more comments right here. Ethan saying, as far as the Lagway stuff goes, yeah, that's a lot of cap space for a guy potentially coming off a horrible season and shoulder surgery. Yeah, that's going to be such a fascinating storyline to follow there with DJ Lagway and the offseason and what that looks like with Florida's next head coach. So, all right, everybody, thanks one more time for dropping in this Gators Breakdown Plus members chat. If you're not a member yet, gatorsbreakdownplus.com. It starts at $3 a month. You get access to this Discord. The chats like we just had right here happen all the time, just in text form. So if you like the chat style, hop in here in the Discord, chat it up with us. A lot of new members lately. Thanks everybody so much for trusting us during this crazy, crazy time. And being Gators Breakdown Plus members, it's a lot of fun with you guys in here. Ad-free episodes of Gators Breakdown as well. And full access to the Discord right here on gatorsbreakdownplus.com. So that'll do it for this chat, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode, this member chat right here on Gators Breakdown Plus.